Grandpa's deck may have no pathetic cards, but there's nothing wrong with bringing it a little bit into the more modern era. So I was finally able to get a hold of it. We have the Infinite Forbidden Booster Box. This is one of the newest sets from Yu-Gi-Oh! And as you can tell, very heavily features Exodia. So we've already waited a while for this. We're going to get right into it here. But finally caved in. I was not able to find this in any of the local stores, so I did order it online and just kind of finally caved in. Figure I had waited long enough and wanted to get a hold of it before the prices went up on it. But we do have this here, so 24 packs, 9 cards per pack, and let's get right into it. It's actually, okay, there we go. I want to try to avoid destroying the box here if we can. There we go. But we're going to get right into it. So 24 packs. I will be honest, I'm not entirely sure of what is all in this set, so this will be pretty new to me. The main reason I wanted it was because it does have some more modern retrains of cards that I kind of grew up with. As I've said before, in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh! The original Duel Monsters anime, I was a very big fan of that. Really didn't follow up with it during GX or anything like that. But it is a card game that I've always appreciated. And to see them bring yet another set that features some classics was pretty cool to see. So here we have Gimmick Puppet Rogue Doll, Gimmick Puppet Cattle Scream, Rushia of the White Forest. Let's get this refocused there real quick, if it will cooperate. There we go. Gimmick Puppet Fantasix Machine X. So that is our holo, so that looks like it is 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th card in the pack. Guardian of the Voiceless Voice. Yes, that lady. Light N Sublimination Dragon. That's 10. And that's the pack. So, alright, so it looks like the Gimmick Puppet archetype also receives some support with this. Gimmick puppets are not something that I'm super familiar with, other than I've heard that term before and heard it used within the context of Yu-Gi-Oh! But that's about as much as I know. So we're just going to go through the pack like regular. Aerial Eater. Fiend Reflection of the Millennium. So I think this was originally Fiend's Reflection, and this is a more modern retrain of it. So I'm going to kind of set that one off to the side just for my own personal well-being. Paralyzing Mushroom. Fiend Smith's Tract as our secret rare. And I don't know if it's still 1 secret per box. Sylvie of the White Forest. 3-in-1 featuring the Ojamas. Broomy. And Madolche Mini Meowcaroons. Alright. Yeah, some of these ones here, I know I probably, other than showing the artwork, I'll just be kind of curious for my own personal reasons, kind of what some of these more modern retrains do. As I said, I'm not really super knowledgeable on a lot of the more modern meta. I just kind of enjoy some of the more classic stuff and have appreciation for a lot of the newer stuff. Spell card, Monster Reborn. Okay. Target 1 monster in either graveyard, special summon it to your field, but for the rest of the turn it cannot attack and neither player can activate its effects. You can only activate 1 spell card, Monster Reborn, per turn. So that's kind of interesting. I guess it's just kind of a more modern version of Monster Reborn. Night Arm Dragon, the Armored Night Dragon. Another light end Sublimination Dragon. The big card from this that I would like to see is well, I guess just in general, the new Exodia support. I do know that there is a fusion monster of it. Okay, so there's another one. Cosmo Queen. I believe this was actually the ultra rare from like the original McDonald's packs back when they were partnered with them. So that's pretty cool to see. Paralyzing Mushroom. Oops. Rushia of the White Forest. Minighoul Cerberus. And again, like the artwork on some of these cards, it's so cool. And it's so unique. I love it. Zapper Shrimp, speaking of things that are unique, that's pretty cool. That's 10. Dragon's Light and Darkness. Moon of the Closed Heaven. Now, if I do miss any of the cards that have been kind of more modernized, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm for sure going to miss probably quite a few of them. Some more Ojama support there, or no, I think it just features the Ojamas on it. Gimmick Puppet Rogue Doll. Betten Bat. Okay, there we have an ultra rare. Silvera, Wolf Tamer of the White Forest. Again, that is such a really cool artwork. And it's got canines on it, so that's a win in my book. That's 10. Dytron Newtwo. Trap Gatherer. And Night Arm Dragon, the Armored Dragon Knight. So it looks like White Forest might be maybe a newer archetype. That's one that I haven't heard of before. But it looks like some of the cards related to that are pretty cool. Maiden of the Millennium Moonlight. That does look like something that I've potentially seen before. Golem that guards the Millennium Treasure. Okay, I think this is also a more modern retrain. And whoops, we ended up, so yeah, Meteora Drytron, but let's get back into that holo because this is pretty interesting. Not even going to try to pronounce his first two words, but it's the Creation King, and that is pretty sick looking. We have another Moon of the Closed Heaven, a Zapper Shrimp, Necroquip Princess, and another Gimmick Puppet, Little Soldiers. So one of the other things that I am pretty excited to also be opening here shortly is Yu-Gi-Oh! Konami also did a reprint of Retro Pack 1. Retro Pack 1 was something that was introduced, gosh, it was during the 2000s, and heavily featured a lot of monsters or just cards in general from the Duel Monsters era. And these cards are sticking together a little bit. But it's like a pure nostalgia trip. A lot of stuff from like Legend of Blue Eyes, Metal Raiders, Spell Ruler, all sorts of different stuff. So was able to track down a couple of the boxes for that. So I think that's probably going to be our next opening. I know there's going to be some Pokemon stuff kind of coming out as well. But I will be honest, haven't been really super impressed with, other than some of those Illustrator boxes that we got, haven't been really crazy on some of these current Pokemon sets. So yeah, it'll be nice to see something that, or it'd be nice to kind of go back to enjoying doing some of these openings, because I was kind of feeling a little burned out with just some of the luck we had been having. Rushia of the White Forest, again. My hand is showing off the holo there. Quebico, or something along those lines. 3-in-1. Another Night Arm Dragon, the Armored Dragon Knight. and Ditron to end it on. So we are approaching here about halfway through this box already. So if you do enjoy this stuff, feel free to, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun little stuff. Definitely helps us out. And yeah, let's get back into it. Gimmick Puppet Cattle Scream. I did put the holo at the end of this one. Fiend Reflection of the Millennium. Fiend Smith's Sanct. Zapper Shrimp. Blazing Bombardment Beast. Dark End Evaporation Dragon. Whoops. Trap Gatherer. And then Spell Card Soul Exchange. So Soul Exchange, I believe this was printed in originally Starter Deck Yugi. Maybe it was Starter Deck Kaiba. I want to say it was Starter Deck Yugi, maybe just as a way to kind of help get rid of blue eyes in case you were playing against somebody who went with Starter Deck Kaiba. Because back then, I know anymore with all the new monster effects and everything like that, you don't necessarily have to be able to beat over something. If you have a card that has like a really good effect, you can just kind of get rid of it. But back when the game was kind of mostly filled with vanilla monsters, 3,000 was pretty hefty to beat over. I think actually the only time you could really beat over it was with Metal Raiders originally, but that was with the Gate Guardian. And that card was kind of more work to get out than really what it was worth. Cirrhosis of the Sinful Spoils is our holo there. And the other pieces to it, I think they were, they definitely were better on their own. I can't remember exactly what their effect was, but I believe it was if something attacked into it, you could set the attacking monster's attack to 0, which kind of allowed you to beat over whatever it was that was coming at you. At least, I believe, for one attack. Maiden of the Millennium Moon. So I'm guessing with some of these different like hieroglyphs in the background, those must be kind of some of the more modern reprints and stuff. But yeah, so it's very interesting to see them bring that back. For those of you that know, is the regular Soul Exchange, and okay, there we go. Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. That's very cool. But is Soul Exchange, is that something that is actually currently banned? If I remember correctly, I want to say the original Soul Exchange, while you could use one of your opponent's monsters as a tribute, I do think it had the downside of you couldn't attack that turn that you activated that. But Dolce Dessert, Broomy. That is one thing that I give Yu-Gi-Oh credit with is, while they do still kind of have some of that classic, more kind of dark, mature stuff that I like especially with Dora Dora here, it is just kind of cool to see them go all in on just creating a whole world full of interesting cards. I mean, granted, Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have anything kind of like the Illustrator rares in Pokemon, but I will say just in general, I do think the average artwork on the cards does tend to be a little bit more interesting to look at. Interdimensional Matter Forwarder, and I forgot to do the old little card trick there. League of the New, and then, okay, Magic Colloidal Soul. Probably butchered that name there. Blazing Bombardment Beast. That's 10. Yep. And then Moon of the Closed Heaven. Maybe that's one of the things that we'll have to do is kind of watch maybe some other openings of these sets. That way I can learn how to pronounce some of this stuff whenever I do openings of it. But we'll do the old pack trick there again. Get our holo to the back since these cards tend to kind of be sticking together just a little bit. Bet and Bat. Rushia the White Forest, Sylvia the White Forest, 3-in-1. That lady again. Whoops. Cosmic Tree and Mimighoul Room. Very cool artwork again. I will say that is kind of one of the nice things. I know the super rares nowadays probably don't hold really any value, since kind of like Pokemon, you're guaranteed a holo. But I will say it does kind of add a little something to these packs here. Fiendsmith's Lacrima, Gimmick Puppet Rogue Doll. I feel like there was a Rogue Doll before. Actually, I know there was, and I know it was released in one of those starter decks we were talking about earlier. Okay, well, we got another secret rare there. Millennium Ankh. Not really sure how to pronounce that, but that is just really cool there. I know the secret rare holo may not pick up the best, but that is pretty cool. And that does look to be one of the new Exodia supports. The main thing I would like to see is, if I'm correct, I want to say it's a fusion monster featuring Exodia, and that's what I would really like to see out of this box if we can get it. Woes of the White Forest, Dipsy Fiend, Light End Sublimination Dragon, Sylvia of the White Forest, another 3-in-1. Yeah, these cards are just sticking together. Something Wicked Butterfly. And yeah, that is somehow an insect. Well, so that is kind of one of the interesting things too, is there are just some cards when you look at it, kind of makes you wonder how they happen to fall under the type that they're labeled as. I'm not sure how somebody got an insect out of that, but live and let live. Service Puppet Plan, Madolche Dessert, Fiendsmith's Sequence, Blazing Bombardment Beast, Volmina, Statue of the Sacred Dragon, Vesper Gurzu, then Centaur Eon Autry, or ATR2. Who knows? But the Retro Pack 2, that is something that I will definitely be very excited to open up. And then whenever I do get to see my cousin again, should also have a Spell Ruler box to go through, which will kind of be interesting, because originally whenever Spell Ruler came out, that was a set that I didn't give it the proper respect that it deserved whenever it came out. You know, kind of being a little preteen buffoon, didn't really understand how some of the cards in there were actually crazy good. And I think a lot of that just kind of had to do with, for whatever reason, the way that my little child brain worked was monster cards were cool, and unless it was a spell or trap card that was used in the actual anime, I really didn't care too much about it. Interdimensional Matter Forward, Fiendsmith Sanct, Hinu Matsuri. We'll at least try the second part of that. And Fiendsmith in Paradise. There was also a Trap Gatherer there. Stuck. Let me just move some of these commons out of the way here. Coming down to, I think this is our last 5 packs. So let's see if we can find something with the Man of the Hour Exodia on it. We did at least, though, get one of these supports for it, so that's pretty awesome to see. But I know Exodia, while it does hold a lot of nostalgic base, and I do know it won something pretty big recently, but I don't think it's like a pretty viable, consistent strategy, even with some of this newer support. So even if we don't get it out of this box here, oh, yeah, another 2 cards sticking together, but Fiendsmith Desire. And it should be something pretty cheap to pick up as a single, so that will be pretty cool to get either way and add that into the collection. And the other thing I also saw is there's going to be a 3rd rarity collection coming out. Maiden of the Moonlight, Gimmick Puppet Cattle Scream, League of the Uniform Nomenclature Strikes, Dragon's Light and Darkness, Zapper Shrimp, Volmina. Yep. Alright. A Gimmick Puppet, one of their Xyz monsters. I think we're just gonna kind of expect some of these cards to be sticking together now. Right, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. The front there, leaving our 5th card at the back. Woes of the White Forest. Dipsea Fiend. That throws me off because I just constantly want to say Deep Sea. Dytron. Necroquip Princess. Gimmick Puppet Little Soldiers. Mansion of the Dreadful Dolls. And then for our holo, Mimighoul Maker. Surprisingly, I don't know if we've actually gotten a lot of doubles in terms of holos, so it's actually kind of interesting to see. I don't know how many supers, though, they typically do with these newer sets. I know really kind of the only Yu-Gi-Oh stuff we've opened so far has been more kind of like collector stuff, so I know we tend to get quite a few holos in each pack. This is our second to last pack here. So let's see if we can Exod Fires of Rage. Okay, so there we go. We did get another Exodia support. That's very cool. Yeah. And now we're on to the final pack. If we can pull the big guy himself, to me at least, this will be the best box ever. I'm sure there's maybe some bigger stuff out of here that I'm sure I missed, but if we do get the big guy himself, that'll just make me happy. Like I said, either way, we got some of the support, and that's awesome. Paralyzing Mushroom. Cosmo Queen, Queen of the Prayers. Cosmic Tree something. Dora Dora, the Explorer. Vesper. Dark End Evaporation Dragon. And, alright, we didn't get it. But it looks like, yep, another Exodia support piece. Alright, so we didn't do too bad with that. The Weeaboo Temple. So, not too bad here. We'll kind of run back through what all we got. So we have 24 holos here. Let me just kind of move some of the bulk here. So we got the Weeaboo Temple. The Exod Fires of Rage. Mimighoul Maker. Gimmick Puppet. Fanatics Machine. Fiendsmith Desire, or Desiree. Fiendsmith in Paradise. Tenpai Dragon. Jinroku or something. Centurion. The Wicked Butterfly. The Millennium Ankh. Again, probably butchering that. Mimighoul Room. Magic Colloidal Soul. Mimighoul Archfiend. I wonder, does this count as an Archfiend card? No. Okay. So I know Archfiend is also another archetype. Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. And I do know, I think this is also like a more modern retrain of something. Sinful Spoils. Spell card Soul Exchange. Concord. Whoops. Creation King, Silvera, the Wolf Tamer, Mimigul Cerberus, spell card Monster Reborn, and then Fiendsmith's Tract, and Gimmick Puppet as our final super rare there. So overall, not too bad. We didn't get the big guy himself, but we did get a lot of his support, so I'm pretty happy with that. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time.